The guest of honor of this commemorative lecture, Sri V.K. Matthews, the principal of this college, Dr. Lissy, the manager of this college, Dr. Abraham, all the distinguished dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, my dear teachers and students. I consider it a privilege and an honor to address you on this 21st Cardinal Parecattil Memorial Lecture of 2025. My association with Cardinal Parecattil began in 1965 when I was a pre-degree student. Of course, today is plus 2. As I was doing it in St. Albert's College, I joined the seminary, and I remember the first day I met Cardinal Parecattil. It was on 21st June 1965. As years passed by, I had various occasions to be associated with him in various capacities. I can even say that he is my mentor. He helped me to broaden my horizons in various fields like liturgy, worship of God, literature, history, etiquette, and so on and so forth. So I can only remember him with great gratitude for all that I received from him during the last many years, till he died. I met him just 2 hours before his death. So I say this because I had a great admiration for this visionary, a multifaceted genius. He had always a pleasure to read the signs of the times. He always observed the society. He always observed the structures of the church and the society. And he always proposed areas where we need to have changes. Now, if you ask me to define who Cardinal Parecattil was in one word, I would say he was a perfect gentleman. He had a warmth, he had friendship, he had gentleness, he had a loving nature. At the same time, he was strict towards himself as well as towards other human beings while keeping his friendship. Now, to begin with, I would like to recall the story of Bharata College, which started in 1965. See, Ernakulam Archdiocese is very famous for its hospitals like Lissy and LF, Angamali. There are many educational institutions, UP schools, high schools, LP schools, and so on and so forth. But it had no college. Neither a B.Ed college, nor an arts college, nor an MBA college, or a legal college. Nowhere Archdiocese had a college. But he wanted to start one. There were 2 famous colleges in Nariculam. Even now there are St. Albert's and St. Teresa's. But he also wanted to have, because he believed in education. Now, how he happened to start this college here? You see, Kakkanad was a barren, abandoned area in the 1950s and 60s, early 60s. The only institution here in Kakkanad was the hospital at Kusumagiri for the mentally challenged. Otherwise, there was no institution here in the 1950s. He had a small house in the compound of the Kusumagiri Hospital. Those days when you say, I am going to Kakkanad, that means you have some problem with your mind setup. That was the condition those days. So he used to go to this small house within the compound of this hospital to spend some quiet moments when he wanted to write a speech or to prepare an article. He used to go there and spend his day. So one day he was traveling from Ernakulam to Kakkanad to this small house within the compound of the Kusumagiri Hospital. He had a friend with him in his car. He was an Indo-American. He was a businessman in America. As the car reached around here in Kakkanad, this man told the Cardinal, "Look, Your Excellency, this place is going to be tomorrow's Ernakulam city. This will be the center of the Greater Cochin." That struck him. It flashed like a lightning in his mind. You know what he did? Immediately he bought a few acres of land in Kakkanad. No people were here, no inhabitants, only place is the mental hospital. But still he decided to buy few acres of land, and he dreamed of starting a college. Everybody began to accuse him. What nonsense are you doing? You go to Kakkanad and start a college. Why don't you start somewhere in Ernakulam? But what that businessman told him, this is going to be the center of Cochin city tomorrow. And now the rest is history. It happened 50 years or 55 years ago. You know, those teachers who were recruited to the college in those days, there were no students here. No people were living here, around here. And the early first teachers had to go about announcing in neighboring places, there is a college called Bharata College, admission is open, please come and join. And Cardinal himself arranged a bus from Ernakulam to Kakkanad, because there was no road, there was no travel facilities. He arranged a bus. And those days, girls and boys couldn't travel together, therefore there was a separation within the bus. Back side for the girls and front side for the boys. It starts from Ernakulam in the early morning and goes back to Ernakulam in the evening after the college time. And that's how this BMC happened to be here. He was a visionary. He dreamt about the future generation. And now we are reaping fruits. Then we had many other institutions, the Cardinal School. You see, he wanted to start a school, Cardinal School here. That time, Karnagaran was the chief minister. He asked Karnagaran, please allow me to start a school near Bharata College in Kakkanad. Karnagaran said, Your Eminence, I am very sorry, very sorry. Government has decided not to start any school this year. It is impossible, I cannot permit you. Then Cardinal insisted, I want to have a college, a school. Then Karnagaran suggested to the Cardinal in his ears, now look, do you have any other school? He said, I have two schools. One, St. Augustine Ernakulam and St. Mary's in Alway. Then Karnagaran suggested, you don't start a new school, Kakkanad, you extend your St. Augustine school to Kakkanad and start a campus there, extension campus. And that's how the Cardinal School came to be there. Then it was an independent school. But it started as the branch of St. Augustine School. So he wanted to develop this area, and now, this is practically, it is becoming the center of Cochin city, Greater Cochin city. Cardinal's only hope was there was a temple with the Onam celebrations. That temple might help him to have this college also as a famous college later on, and it so happened. Now in 2016, I thought of bringing to the attention of the people the quality or the mental power of this great man. So I wanted to edit all his speeches and his writings. So I edited a book entitled The Writings and Speeches of Joseph Cardinal Parecattil, a Catalogue. I succeeded in collecting 1,273 documents. And I published it as a catalogue. Reading all these documents, I gave one paragraph each about every document. Of course, there must have been other documents which I could not trace, but I traced some of them later. They are not yet edited. As a man of vast knowledge, with an insightful mind and creative ideas, he was clever, as I said, in reading the signs of the times. He had interest in various areas: history, liturgy, literature. If you read his autobiography, that's about 1,000 pages in 3 volumes. Every paragraph, every page you find a quotation from the Malayalam literature. Now, he was a critic of the structures and attitudes. I just want to highlight 2 areas which he touched. There are various areas. In the book I have shown about 13 areas in which he was interested. I'm just highlighting 2 incidents. One is his interest in the religious interrelatedness. You know that India is a country of, it's a mosaic of religions. We have every religion of the world. We have Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, and whatnot. Every religion is here. He said, therefore, we have a religious roots in India. We need to live interrelatedness. If each religion goes its own way, there will be always separations. So we should live together. What to do that? Now, in 1971, addressing the World Parliament of Religions, Cardinal said the following, quote, "Behind the apparent variety in religious beliefs and practices, there are a few fundamental elements on which we all agree and we can agree. Therefore, our endeavors shall be to search for factors that unite us rather those that separate us. God is love, and love of God must necessarily reflect itself in love of human beings, whatever the religious, educational, or social status be." This was in 1971. After 10 years, in 1981, addressing the World Conference of Religions, the Cardinal said, quote, "The world has been witnessing changes in every sphere of life, even in man's attitude to religion and morality. Man has several achievements to his credit in the fields of science and technology, but in the conquest of himself, of his unruly passions, his selfishness and hatred for others, he has been taking retrogressive steps. Man has learned to live longer, but not better, from a moral point of view. He has learned to love a more comfortable life, but is not able to live a happier life. After all, what is happiness in life? Stephen Rossetti, he was a counselor and HOD of the Department of Psychology of Catholic University of Washington, D.C. He wrote a book. Who is actually happy in this world? He is an American. He found that No, less than 50% of Americans are happy, despite all the worldly facilities they have. So it is curious to know why. What then makes people happy? He interviewed about 37,000 Americans. And he wrote a book, Who is Really Happy in This World. You know what was his finding? Those who are really happy are those who are living in communion with his brothers and sisters. Not those who have money. Not those who have power. Those who are living interrelatively. Those who have good relationship with others live happy life. And he concludes, when you are able to say to your brother, to your sister, I need you to make my life happy, is the happiest person. Now, another area which I would like to highlight from the life of Cardinal Parecattil is one of his speeches of 25th March 1970. You know, he was invited by the organizers of a group in Nariculam to inaugurate the children's traffic park in Subhash Chandra Bose Park in Nariculam. The organizers wanted to inculcate in the children from the early stage how to respect the traffic rules, the sense of road, and the civic sense. The Cardinal, on that occasion, that's about 55, 60 years ago, he said, on the whole, we Indians are very poor in fulfilling our civic duties. Traffic rules is an important part of this civic sense. And therefore he congratulated the organizers for training the children about the traffic rules. I remember, because I had the pleasure or the fortune to study in Europe for about 11 years, from LKG onwards, they start to teach traffic rules. From LKG onwards. Recently, that's about a couple of weeks ago, I happened to come across statistics. It is taken some 15 years ago. I think it was of 2011. That was a study on the road accidents and plane crashes. They haven't given the number of accidents that took place in the world, but they have given the number of people who died in road accidents. In this particular year, 1,42,485 people died in road accidents, and 5,11,394 people were severely injured and handicapped. In the same year, there were 380 flights through the skies of the world. 380 lakhs of flights. But there were only 22 plane crashes. Why? The finding is the road accidents were due to the defective vehicles, just 1.6%. 2.4% due to the carelessness of the pedestrians. And 77.76% of accidents due to the reckless driving, careless driving, which I have experienced. I have a driving license for the last 51 years. I have been driving for the last 51 years. I never had an accident. All the accidents are due to the drivers. If not all, almost 75-80% accidents. Scant respect for the other. No concern for others. No learning about the traffic rules. They simply mercilessly violate traffic rules. You take any paper of any day, how many youngsters are dying due to bike accidents? So therefore, 55 years ago, Cardinal said, our civic sense compels us to learn the traffic rules. Not only the drivers, the pedestrians, cyclists, everybody. Once we learn to respect the rules, we can definitely reduce the number of accidents. That's why there are so many crashes in the skies. And very rarely there is a crash because of the defective pilot. Mostly these accidents are due to the defective vehicle or unexpected troubles they get on the way. So therefore, Cardinal was very much concerned about the respect for rules in the roads. It is part of our civic sense. There are various other areas in which Cardinal was interested. As I said, history, culture, education, even literature. There was a reference to the Kalabhavan in Nariculam. There was a reference to his educational interests. We don't have time to explore all these areas. Therefore, I want to conclude. As a conclusion, I am quoting a sentence from Cardinal Antony Nariculam, the successor of Cardinal Parecattil as the Archbishop of Ernakulam. Quote, "In one's own life, everyone fights for something, some for money, some for prestige, some for good name, and some for popularity. But only a visionary fights for issues which deeply concern human life and human welfare." And Cardinal Parekattil said, in this respect, I can boldly say that Cardinal Parekattil was a missionary as well as a visionary. And lastly, Cardinal always said, he was a Catholic, he was a Roman Catholic, and he said, I don't want to be called a Roman Catholic, but I want to be known in the world as an Indian Catholic, not as a Roman Catholic. I want to be known as an Indian Catholic. Therefore, my dear friends, let us learn to love our culture, our nation, our languages, our not culture, cultures. We don't have a monolithic culture. We have cultures, languages that will stand in good stead to live as good citizens. Thank you.